Hey there, my name is Brandon Howe, and welcome back to my Making a Game series. In the last episode, we added music to our game, and some jet systems for our player ship and our enemy ships, in addition to all our fancy schmancy explosions. So, ta-da. So we have music, and as well, if we die and respawn, the music keeps going successfully. And if we go back to our level select, we have music here too, between our level select and main menu. And I also changed the music that was here because when I picked the music before, I only listened like a few seconds in and decided, yep, this is probably fine. But then I didn't realize there was vocals later, so yeah, I changed it. Anyway, so in this episode, we are going to be dealing with adding some sound effects and possibly some other things, because I don't think that'll take as long as I initially had planned as it would take. So we'll deal with sound effects first. So I've already scoured the internet, taking literally hours to find some sound effects here, with the main thing being stuff I'm actually allowed to use and just that sort of thing. So I have, an enemy explosion, enemy shot, enemy player explosion, player shot, shield. The shield maybe, this one might not work, but, and shot explosion. And they're all kind of 8-bit-y. Sort of. So let's get to plugging those in. Now there's going to be some tediousness here, so I'll probably just set up some of them and then cut the rest. Who knows? We'll see. So first, we will add some sound effects to our player shot. And now, additionally, when I was playing this, I was thinking that we'd have to do a bunch of coding to have our sound effects play when we want them to. But actually, with the way that we've set up a lot of our stuff, that actually won't be the case. So, first of all, for our player shot, so we're going to want to make a sound effect play when we fire the shot, and another sound effect to play when we destroy the shot. So this actually works out nicely. We can just, on our player shot here, finding our sound effects here, where was it? Player shot explosion here. I can just drag that onto our shot here, and because play on awake is checked, we also don't want loop to be checked. As soon as the shot is created, right when we fire it, this should play that sound effect, which is nice. We also, I'm going to turn the volume way down because we don't want our sound effects to be too loud. So that actually should be that. So now we should be able to just go into our game and just fire our shots successfully. Alright, so we got that. I'll have to also find out a good balance between the loudness of the music and the shots, or the sound effects. That, coupling with how many other sound effects might potentially be playing, I think I'm going to lower that down even more. So, I'm going to go take this. There. Yes. Also, in the last video, there were some problems with the music being overpoweringly loud. I went and lowered it here. It was also kind of being doubly recorded, both from recording the audio from the computer, and then also the audio coming out of the computer and then being picked up by the mic, so it was being recorded twice as loud, more or less. So that was a problem, but that should be fixed now, hopefully. So yeah. Anyway, so now for our shot explosion, we're going to want to go to, having a sound effect play when the shot explodes, we can just add the sound effect to our player shot explosion. So we're going to open that up and then just go and add our sound effect to this. So our shot explosion here, just dragging and dropping. Play on awake, check, yes. This I'm also going to have be really low, 0.05, and hopefully that'll be good. Yes. So now we're also going to want to go and do the same thing to our enemy shots over yonder. So going here, sound effects, same, we're going to use the same, we have an enemy shot, one here, and same thing, setting this down to 0.05. If anything, we might want this one to be even lower, just because of all the enemies that'll be shooting. That's going to be a lot of this sound effect playing over and over, so, and at the same time, so we'll lower that down even more. And then now we can go to our enemy shot explosion, and then add the same shot explosion sound effect to it. And play on awake, and as well, I'm also going to lower this, actually only to the 0.051, because The only time that this shot actually explodes is when it kills the player, which will only happen once. So that shouldn't be as much of a problem with having multiple things playing at the same time. So now with our player, actually, with the rest of these explosions, it should just be a matter of adding our sound effects to our explosion things. And then also having to tweak our sound. So I'm just going to go in here. Yeah, okay, just sort of testing what that's like. And then I'm also going to quickly go forward a lot and get shot by one of our shooting enemies. And then just sort of seeing what that sounds like in a second. So who wants to shoot first? I barely heard that, but I think that'll be fine because the player's explosion will be the bulk of that sound effect. I will go and actually, I think I'm just going to go and increase the size of that just a tad. Enemy shoot explosion, or, yeah, or, whoa, over enemy shot explosion. Our naming could be better, but, oh well, that's fine, I think. So, that to 0.1. Actually, no, that won't actually play the sound effect. Oh well. So we have that. So now we're going to go to our player, doing all this with our prefabs, not with our stuff out here, just so that it applies to every instance. Opening our player and then adding, actually not our player, we're going to want to go and add to our player explosion over here. And then we're just going to want to add a explosion to this. So over here, player explosion. This, no clue how loud I'm going to want this to be. Let's make it a 0.5 and test that out. Just going in. And that's very loud, but I think we might want it to be loud. Just, okay, maybe not that loud, but maybe go 0.25. That should be fine. Now, over to all of our enemies. We're going to have to do it for every... There's no way of... Yeah, unfortunately, there's no way of multi-editing prefabs. There kind of used to be before there was this open prefab tab, but oh well, that is fine. So, to our enemy shoots... Actually, I'm going to do it... Our hazards are the closest. I'm going to add the explosion to our hazard, get all those numbers right, and then add our explosions onto everything else. So, enemy explosion, I'll set this to, I'm just going to guess, so 0.25 was what I had for the player. I'm going to go 0.1, no, 0.1, 0.1 there, and then try that out and see how loud that is. Wait, that's not what I wanted. I want to destroy the, yeah. Maybe ever so slightly louder, but not too much. So maybe 0.15. Yes. Or maybe 0.2. Just experimenting, as what a lot of this is, what a lot of it comes down to. So it sounds good, but I don't know if, just with, again, how many enemies will be dying, I don't want that to be so super overpowering. So maybe 0.15, and I think I'm also going to lower the volume of the player shot. That's already that low. Okay, well, 0.03. No, maybe 0.2. Yeah. Anyway, so now that we have those numbers right, now we're going to add the same explosion to all of our, not those enemies there, to the particle system explosions for all those enemies. And since it's just going to be the same tediousness, I'm just going to cut away for a second and do that, and I'll be right back. Alright, and that's done now. So now all of our sound effects are in. And now, seeing what that sounds like. Oh, yeah, we got that as well. And going through all of our enemies. Boom, we got nice sound effects. Music and sound effects really can help. I'm actually just going to go and turn off our level music just for the moment. Just so we can just hear our sound effects in all their glory. So you can kind of see the difference there. Music and no music kind of, I don't know, almost takes the life out of it a little bit. Good music can help bring a game to life. Never underestimate it. Although, I'm not a music person, so I can't make music, so I have to just scour the internet seeing what I can find that I won't get sued for using. But, oh well. Anyway, so we got all of our explosions here. I could also make, or go and find unique explosions for different enemies and stuff like that, but I think this works for as well. I was also going to experiment with trying to get sound effects for our jets, but then it was just kind of a constant noisy hum for like the entirety of the level, and I didn't think it really sounded good. So we can just keep it as is for now. Alright, so that does it for sound effects. Now, I was able to do that a lot faster than I thought I was going to be able to, so there's that. And I don't want to get started on what I'm going to be doing in the next video just yet because it's something I'd like to do all in one video that's going to take a long time. We were going to be dealing with improving all of our UI elements, making them a lot more pretty. So what I think I'm going to do, something unplanned, we'll see if it works or not. I'm going to try adding in a black screen fade in into our levels, and when we die, having it be black screen, fade into the level, and then when we die, it fades to black and then fades back in. So let's try and do that. So that black screen is going to be a UI element. It's going to be a panel that we're going to just make bigger than the entirety of the screen. So we can just set that up to 100, and then I can go negative 50 on all sides, and that will 50, and then that should cover the whole screen. Doesn't cover the sides, but okay. Even more, or is it? Oh, I think it is. It's just not. That's not the edge of the screen. Yeah. So we got that covering the side, and now we'll change that to black, and we'll call this fade in. So that's that. We also want to make sure that on the canvas it's on top, or it's at the bottom of the canvas, because the order of things in the canvas will be the order of how things show up on screen. So if we had this under here, oh wait, hold up. Yeah, or if it was white, yeah. So if we have it on the top, then everything is on top, which is not what we want. We want it on the bottom so that we can't see everything else through it. So having this all blacked out and on the bottom, now we'll program it in. I think the best place to do this would be our game manager. So we'll do that in there. So opening this up here, we'll first want to get a reference to that fade in. And we'll just get yeah, we'll need to get a reference to it as, or hold up, going back to it, or wherever it was. Yeah, sorry. So we'll want to get a reference to its image component so we can change the color, because we're going to change the alpha transparency. We're basically going to fade that from 0 to 100, like so, or 0 to 255, depending on which one of those you're working with. So going then in here, we're going to want to get a reference to the image. I'm going to make it private. So private image, we already got the UI thing up here, so that's fine. And we'll call it this fade in. All right, cool. So now we're going to want to get a reference to it. So we'll go fade in equals game object. No. Hold up. Game object dot find. This was called, yeah, we called it fade in. Cool. And then now we're gonna want to set the color of it. Oh, this dot get component image. Yes. So dot get component image. Cool. So now the fade in, we're gonna want to set its color to, when we first start the game, it's going to be all black. So just to make sure it is, oh, as well, actually, before I do that, I want to go and set its active state to true. Fade in dot game object dot set active true, because when we're working with stuff in the editor, we're going to have it set to false so we can actually see our level. But then when we start the game, we're going to want to, set it on. So fade in's color, actually no, because actually I'm gonna have to back up on that, because if we no, we will have it set true all the time. We'll just set the alpha all the way to 0, because for game object dot find to work, the object needs to be enabled. or set active for GameObject.find to be able to find it. Otherwise, it won't be able to. So yeah, so fadein.color is going to be a new color, and that's going to be 255, 255, 255, and then the A being also 255. Yes, so that should be all black, all existing, not transparent at all. So now I guess we can also set a public variable up here that we're going to call fade in speed. I'm going to put that up here with the other number just to be, maybe it's more organized. Yeah, a lot of the private public variables in here aren't as organized, but that's fine. I can go and organize it at a later point if I see fit to do so. But so public float fade in speed. Actually, we'll do it with the .lerp, so it'll be a smooth value, but smoothing. Yes. So then fade in color that yes. So then that. All right. So in update, we're also going to want to set a Boolean for whether or not it's fading in or fading out at this current time. So private a bool called fading or fading in. No, I'll just call it fading. Or yeah, is fading, I guess. Is fading equals, it'll start equaling true. It'll start equaling true. Yes. So then if is fading, then the fade-in's color will go color.lerp from its current color, so fade-in.color, to this new color that is the same, completely black, but with this alpha transparency being 0, so it'll be transparent. And then at a speed of our smoothing multiplied by time.delta time. Cool. That just like that. And then if it's not, if is fading is false, so when we die we want it to fade to black, so we'll do that by setting is fading to false. Then we're going to want to do the opposite and have it set to 255 like so. As well, now yeah, that should just work like that, I think. Yes. Yes. So that should be that. Now all we'll need to do is in our health script, player health script, we're going to need to get a reference to the game manager when we die before we restart, and have it set to fade in. So, or fade to black. So in here, right before we reload, actually right before we wait, we're going to want to go, we can just go find object of type game manager dot is fading, then we'll need to be public, except not public in the inspector. So I'm going to kind of put it in this middle road here, and we're going to set it to hide in inspector and public so that the player health can access it. So find object of type game manager dot the is fading equals false, and hopefully that should work just like that. But we're about to find out. I will also then need to actually set the game manager fade in, just so the game manager can find it. I'll need to add a space here. Yes, fade in smoothing. I will set this to 10, and we'll just see if that works. That was not right. Okay, let me set that to something super low, like 1. So it should start out being black and then very slowly fade in, which it's not. That's not what we want to happen. Okay, so its color is getting set to, right. Sorry, not 255 all around. 255 all around is white. I'm being backwards. Okay, so sorry, this is gonna be 0, 0, 0, 255, 0 all around. I'm pretty sure 255 is the max number for alpha transparency, I think. I know it is for the colors if you're working in RGB colors, but we're about to see. All right, so we got a lot of black. That's on the right track. So now I will set this up to 10 again and see if it should be black and then go away, but this might still be too quick. And then I'll die and see if it... No, that's very much not what we want to happen. So instead, yeah, going back here, setting this to something... Let's go half Z's to 5 and see if that works. Okay, that could work. We just might want to shift everything else back. Oh no, I don't like everything. Why does this just... This doesn't work when it's fading out. It's like immediately going to black. Is that... Does this maybe need to be 100? It might need to be 100. I'm not quite sure. I'll need to then go out and retest it again, but that's fine. Over here, I don't know what number we'll need, but I'll leave it as 5 for now. So now this fades in. Bloop. Nope. Still very much nope. Okay, does it need to go new color? RGBA. It doesn't say... Let me set this to something super small, like 0.1. So theoretically, this shouldn't work. And if it is, then something else is... Like, it shouldn't fade out. Okay, so it might be going between 0 and 1. I'm just going to try that. So if I do 7, 5, it should go mostly black, but not fully. Just to sort of test. Because that might be the case. It totally is. Okay, fair enough. That's cool. That's good. That's and then I'm also then I'm gonna set that to exactly 1 as well, and I don't need the F there. So now hopefully this should work as well, because there's that slight delay of not being able to see anything. I'm gonna take all of our enemies. I'm gonna go like this and grab all of our enemies and all of those turn pivots and just sort of shift them back. Not turn pivots, they are turn triggers. Boom, 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 and sort of shift them back a tiny bit. I can't tell how far that is, but that's probably fine. Just so that right when the player starts the level, they have a slight bit of leeway of being able to see or not. So now it fades to black and then comes back in. I would like to adjust the speed. I'd like it to go a bit... Maybe I could change it to have a fade in and a fade out speed. And actually, I think I'm going to go and move those back. And I'll change it to have a fade in and fade out speed. Just because I think I want them to be slightly different. So fade in smoothing and then fade out smoothing. Whoa. And then yeah, we'll do that like that. So now these should be different. So I want it to fade in fast and fade out slow. So then we'll set this to like 2 and maybe this to 8. Maybe. So we'll just see what that looks like then. Okay, it fades in like almost instantly, but okay. I think that's good. I kind of like that, yeah. So yes, I'm just slight nitpicking. Gonna set this to 3, but I think that works. All right, so that's cool. So, oh, and then as well, just we can actually see the game before we, like in the game view, and it's not just black all the time. I'm going to set the our fade in over here to this by default, but then it'll the start function of the game manager will set it to black as well. Let's make it a prefab. I also need to do that to the level progress bar, it seems. Yep, so I'll do that. As well, I'm just going to organize these folders a little bit by making another one called UI. And then all of our UI elements, so end score, fade in, level button, level complete, level failed, level progress, our pause screen, score bar, all of those. I'm just going to drag them in there. And then I could also be even more cleanly by making another one called enemies. And then I can go, and I'll put the enemy shot in there as well. And I'll put the hazard in there as well, because it kind of counts enough. Just to be nice like that. And then I could make another one for power-ups. Power-ups in the event that if we actually made more. Just like that. Not the player, that and the shield, just throwing them in there. Alright, so that's more nice and tidy. I could do the same with some of the models maybe as well, but yeah, that's fine. There's not, well, if we actually make more. Like if we have so much that it's a problem, then yeah. I can also do the same for the scripts, but I'll do organization stuff like that in between this episode and the next one, I think. Anyway, so now going in and testing this again, just make sure it's still working. So we fade in, we die, it fades out, and then we fade back in. Oh, another thing we didn't really tackle is pausing. Oh, right. So now you notice that when we pause, we can't click on buttons. That is because the fade in thing is still kind of over top of it, and it's like we're clicking it and not the button. So we're just going to want to check this, uncheck this ray cast target there. And as well, anything that we aren't supposed to click on, we're going to want to in its image component. So our level progress bar, we're not going to be clicking it, so we're going to want to uncheck ray cast target there. And this image here, uncheck ray cast target. And I'll go and apply that. And then we're going to want to score text. This text, yeah, uncheck ray cast target. Probably should have done this before. Level failed incomplete screen should be fine. Yes. So then pause screen, those are probably fine. And then our score bar, all as well. Both of these, uncheck raycast target. And then our text, uncheck raycast target. Just so that means we can't actually click on them. So now this, apply. All right, so now that should work. As well, I think I'm going to put... I'll put the pause screen... I'll reorder this a little bit to have... Actually, level progress bar over there. So score bar, level progress, level complete, failed, end score, pause screen. Actually, the fade in below so you can still pause the game even while it's in the middle of a fade in and still see the pause screen clearly. So as it's fading out, you can still see that. That should be good. And when we replace the UI elements in the next episode, this won't be just a black background, so that won't be a problem there. All right, so we got all of that done. Perfecto. All right, so that'll do it for this episode. In the next episode, we are going to go and improve our UI elements. And what I think we're going to do for that, this is something experimental. I could go into something like Photoshop and make graphics for these, but I want to try something interesting in making sort of 3D graphics. And how we're going to do that is we're going to make stuff in Blender, render that out, like 3D stuff in Blender, render that out as an image, and then put those in these backgrounds. I'm going to try it and see if it works. We'll find out next time, I guess. So anyway, that will do it for this episode. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, have a good day.